Hi, everybody. My name is Judith Pennington. I am the founder of the Institute for the Awakened Mind. And with us here is Oxana Bondarchuk, who has done a stupendous, I don't want to say favor, gift, I guess, to I Am since 2016, when she so kindly volunteered to operate the webinar program, the monthly programs we've been having ever since then, and literally made something out of nothing. She and I both brainstormed the topics, and then after a while, she took over and did a lot of programs on her own, but she sent out the email announcements, created the webinar page talking about what programs were coming up, added to the videos, put them up on YouTube, sent them out to inform people about each program and all the other hidden behind the scenes kinds of things involved with such a huge enterprise. And as it turns out, Oksana is going to give that up at the end of May. This is 2025. And seed that work onto Suzanne Temple, who is the new director of the Institute for the Awakened Mind. And she's going to go off on her own doing all kinds of fun little things. We'll talk about that during this program. And I just want to start by saying thank you, Oksana, for all the wondrous things that you accomplished in these many years, 9 years now, 10 if you count better than I do. And it's just been an absolute blast working with you. And I know it's the same for all the people who attended the webinars, that they loved your teaching style and the subjects you came up with. And let's just hear from you a little bit. Anything you want to say about what kind of journey it's been, maybe what you enjoyed, why you did it, anything at all.
Okay, thank you so much, Judith. First of all, I want to say that I think it was probably our karmic agreement to do this together. And I intuitively sensed I should step in and do something. So it was my initiative and my own goodwill and my own search for answers. As a beginner practitioner, I was as anybody else experiencing certain questions, problems, and was looking for answers, and was willing to learn about other practitioners' experiences, was willing to share my experiences, and that's how it all started. And in general, I thought the power of the community is great because that's not just my little mind, this is our collective mind. And since we are scattered all around the world, it was back, yes, 2016. These were early Zoom days when Zoom wasn't that popular yet. We jumped straight on it and started seeing each other online, getting to know who else has the mind mirror around the globe and what others are doing. And I thought that was a great journey all the way through, because we've seen lots of beautiful people. We got to know each other, which is amazing, because again, we are in different parts of the world, so it's very unlikely we would ever meet each other in one space on Earth. Maybe one day Suzanne will do a conference to get all the practitioners together. That's actually a great idea. But yeah, to see all these wonderful people who also practice or are interested in learning what Mind Mirror can do for you. So we started there with maybe more technical things, and then exploring theory, exploring and learning more about experiences of other beautiful people from different backgrounds. And we know that Mind Mirror World attracts absolutely amazing people. Most of them will come from probably a medical background. They could be doctors, nurses, psychologists, psychotherapists, but there will be a great deal of creative people as well. And we had musicians, we had singers. And it was always a pleasure to meet this, how to say, creative and intellectual elite from around the globe, and see them and interact with them and share our spiritual insights and insights about how heart, body, mind works, and how Mind Mirror can actually help us better understand how we function and help us take ourselves to the, I don't know, next step in our consciousness evolution, in our spiritual evolution, and unfold our creativity. So however it worked for, I think each of us has its own journey, its own probably main interest. Even though we don't have any particular specialty as practitioners, we clearly know that our background and our main life interests will guide us, and then will guide probably clients with the same interest towards us. And Judith, I think you were always drawn to psychics and healers. Sounds like a
Exactly.
destiny. So that's why you did lots of research and work with psychics and killers, and still working with Monroe Institute, exploring the subtle realms and how far the human consciousness can go. So once again, I'll invite everybody, if they haven't done it already, rewatch your Unlimited Mind series, because that was a series of great interviews with amazing, again, very advanced people from the extrasensoric abilities, from the detective with the remote viewing to
Yeah, Lauren Belg, the doctor. She's a intensive
doctor
care unit doctor who wrote a book about it.
who evidence a great deal of near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences. So that was great. I don't know, I guess somebody came from clinical background and they're interested how they can complement what they know from clinical neurofeedback with the mind mirror, and that helped as well. Integrate beautiful meditations.
I really appreciate it. Appreciate how the webinars evolved in topics as the brain evolves and consciousness evolves, and how you yourself took a neurofeedback course and began to splice some of that information into the webinars. That was absolutely terrific. I mean, you were the first person to correlate neurofeedback practices, knowledge with the mind mirror. And that was absolutely a milestone in our understanding. It was something that Anna Wise was not so interested in making that correlation, wanted to just keep this awakened mind the sole focus. But you really branched things out for us and brought forth a lot of fascinating information. Of course, those webinars, people can watch them too. And of course, one of the things that I've always said to you I love is your creativity and your artistry with the PowerPoint shows, with the webinar page and everything. You have such a knack for the visual. I don't know if that's because you have so much gamma, in your flow state and your heightened intuition and creativity, or just if you've always had that. Why don't you, for people who may not know you very well, tell us a little bit about your background. Where'd all that artistry come in? And tell us about transpersonal psychology, how you got into that.
My journey started back in Russia. I was born there, I was raised there, and I spent there about first 33 years of my life, like Jesus, until I moved to Australia to start completely new path. And back in Russia, I mainly was focused working in corporate world on various positions in marketing and for some time in business training. But I've always been interested in psychology. So at some stage I decided my degree in economics was driven more out of necessity, but my interest in psychology has always been innate. So I made a choice to pursue it, and I joined Institute of Psychoanalysis in Moscow to do proper degree in psychology as a teacher of psychology. And I was interested in the deepest possible psychology, which is psychoanalysis. But along the way, the classical Freud school got boring to me. So I decided I want to learn more about Jung and what he had to teach about this collective consciousness and archetypes, and in general, what's going on in our subconscious, how we are driven. And that's what led me to Transpersonal Workshop, where I learned first about Anna Weiss. And we were guided, because her book is translated into Russian, and we were guided through a couple of her meditations, and we tried a few exercises on beta and alpha, how to relax our beta brainwaves and how to amplify our senses with alpha exercises. So actually it was my first ever meditation experience, and I realized that journeys inside could be as exciting as journeys to, I don't know, Austrian Alps for skiing, 5 days, or just 20 minutes journey inside. In terms of impressions and experiences, this is equal and condensed and actually free experience you can have and enjoy at any time. Collecting lots of insights along the way, probably releasing some tension and doing some transformational work at the same time. So it's win-win-win all along the way. So that's how it started. And then when it was the time for me to do my final thesis with the Institute of Psychoanalysis, I realized the only topic I'm interested in, it's transformation of consciousness. So I realized it's something that will stay with me no matter what. It's the most exciting subject. I'm not interested in behavioral psychology and all this, stimuli reaction, rabbits and rats. Now, I want to know about this subtle side. I want to know how far human consciousness can go. And of course, I was asked a clear question. The theoretical part is easy. I put together different theories about consciousness and how they evolve. But then I was asked, Oxana, but how are you going to measure consciousness? And that's when Anna Weiss's research came handy. So I just said, I'll borrow it from that book, because I read this book and I know that someone, exactly Anna Weiss, came up with this map of consciousness and with the patterns that we can measure, see, interpret, and thus identify how deep we go or how far we go inside of our consciousness. So this is for meditation purposes, or for peak performance, or for going really high, or for going really into unusual out-of-body states. We all can see that and measure that with the brainwaves, with the EEG and the mind mirror. That, unlike clinical equipment, helps us to interpret it easily. You don't need years and years to learn to understand what's going on and how the states are shifting as we, meditate or go through the training. So I integrated that bit into my final thesis, and years later, when I arrived to Australia and started thinking, how can I apply myself and looking, so to say, for alternative psychology, something interesting, something unusual. That's when I decided that Mind Mirror would be a good thing to try finally when I'm in Australia, closer to the English-speaking world. I wanted to finally get this equipment and see for myself how it works. And that's when I contacted you, Judith, because sadly Anna Weiss was gone already by that time. So I was very glad someone picked up what she had done and took it further, took it to next digital age level. And somebody was still doing the trainings. That was you, Judith. So that's why I invited you to train me. And that's how all this journey started.
And that was such a wonderful experience for me to come there to your home above Byron Bay, the wonderful surfing hippie artist capital of Eastern Australia. And we just had such a melding of the minds from the start, didn't we?
Yes.
We even hooked up Graham, your husband, a few times, and it was just a wonderful experience. I actually went there twice, right? Once I was training some people in India, and I thought, oh, I'll just stop by Australia. Haha, that was 15 hours from India. Not a hop, skip, and a jump. But I loved every minute with you guys and just absolutely treasure them. And also, of course, I feel up working with you ever since. I wonder if working with the webinar program has been evolutionary for you in any way.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It was, at first I started as a moderator. I learned how to make landing pages. I had to develop format to keep our videos well organized. So I came up with a format for the video gallery. So it was a big learning curve kind of in the video editing and audio editing along the way. So over time, yes, I developed lots of technical skills. And of course, with time, I felt like I want to share something myself. I'm really passionate about meditation. So I think one of the first programs that I came up with was about the meditation, and then different levels of consciousness. I thought it would be nice to tell the bigger world how we see these transitions as you go deeper or as you go high, and how it is reflected through brainwaves as shown by the mind mirror. And then, of course, later on, I decided I want to do my share my most favorite meditations, or my experiences, and also share the brainwaves behavior during these meditations. It has always been my dream, so I've done that too. And then energy reading with the mind mirror, and energy reading in general. For the first time, probably connecting extrasensoric perception and maybe esoteric even outlook at things, how subtle world operates, connecting that with what we know and read and measure with the mind mirror. So I love absolutely all of my programs. I invested a great deal of my, not just brain, but not my mind, but heart, soul into them. And yeah, it was a journey of self-exploration, of questioning and digging deeper, including the course that you mentioned, including learning more about basic neurophysiology, because I thought I really want to understand maybe this material, mechanical side a little bit more, make some correlations between what and how is done in clinical neurofeedback and how we do it, just to prove that Mind Mirror has its proper big niche and it's justified because, as I mentioned, it's so much more friendlier and easier to use than all the clinical programs and clinical equipment. Even though we have only 5 electrodes, that's just enough to see what you need to see and to practice what you need to practice. It does the job, right? So I dug deeper. I created absolutely amazing webinars on this neurophysiology of brainwaves that gave me deeper insights and understanding why amazing. We say what we say with the mind mirror. This is not just a copy of a copy of a copy, what you can find in some books in, in the internet, that has its foundation, that has its science behind it. And I validated that by doing these programs. And later on, I decided to dig deeper and explore the main things we're actually training. I explored attention, flow, and peak performance, also taking us through what it means, what's the definition, where it comes from, how it can be measured, and how it can be trained. And so I think these are very hot topics of today's. So if anybody is still in doubt, I can definitely say, though we call it awakened mind, that may be misleading to some who are not that awakened yet and not quite sure what we are talking about. We can present it simply as attention training or peak performance training, where as you go there, you want, yes, we all want to be effective, efficient, but along the way, suddenly you find that you also become more creative, or you are pushed onto spiritual path, and that's the side effect you cannot avoid, even if you are not aiming to get there. Brainwaves wise, it's the same path.
Absolutely. So, yes. And you started the meditation club too, which I talked to people who attended it and they absolutely loved it. I know that it wasn't as many people as you expected would come along. I'm still sort of puzzled by that, why they wouldn't. But just tell a little bit about what your concept was for that and how it worked out.
Of course, yeah, it started with my love in meditation. So I shared my favorite meditations during my favorite meditations course. And I felt like, why don't we continue? And since we started Mind Mirror Portal and Meditation Center, so we have great collection of meditations of our own. And Judith did a great job. You did a great job of collecting it all together, putting it all together from Max Cade's time, even recording some of his meditations, bringing Anna Weiss meditations, doing yours on top of that, and your collaborative projects with I Awake and Monroe Institute. So it's a great collection, and I thought, I haven't tried some of them, so why not? I would be exploring them. I would be measuring brainwaves, and then I would share them with others and showing how once again, how brainwaves talk to you, revealing these brainwaves wisdom behind these meditations, how once again, our consciousness is programmed by words, right? And words, our guidance, they become these triggers or landmarks that can take you to a deeper state or higher state. And if you're still in doubt, I clearly showed how it works, because even though I understand that I was measuring just and sharing just one person's brainwaves each time, and these were different people all along the way, but we could clearly see that certain landmarks, certain words, they clearly work as triggers to take you to the next level. For example, help you relax, help you connect with your essential being, help you go into this light and love and universal healing energy of Delta or Gamma. So we all could evidence that. And at the same time, I was reminding people, saying, look, come and have a look. We have these great collections. So even if I pick just one meditation from the album, go and get the whole album and enjoy it, because you can clearly see how it works. And also you would support me that each meditation written and recorded, it wasn't AI generated. It was based on science. It was based on deeper understanding how our brain works, how brainwaves work, and how to manage them, so how to navigate them. I don't know, it was a great idea. I thought, since we use meditations for awakened mind training, that's our main kind of heritage from Anna Weiss's time, so why not emphasize and explore more and more meditations?
So it became sort of a research project, didn't it, to show how effective the meditation structures were in helping people access different brainwave categories and levels of consciousness.
Exactly, Judith. It's you know how busy our minds are, and how most of, I think, modern population is suffering from attention deficit. So and especially after COVID times, COVID triggered this lots of anxiety, hidden anxiety, because we were trapped physically, many of us, to self-isolate, and we didn't have usual freedoms. So that meant that we had to look inside, and that's when I came up with the very first course, inviting people to travel inside. So yes, you can't travel outside, you can always travel inside, and this is the freedom that you always have, and nobody can take it away from you. So it started there. It's high, like mindfulness is in high demand, attention training is in high demand. So anybody could join the Mind Mirror Meditation Club, because you can simply come and enjoy the benefits of group meditation practice. But then if you own the Mind Mirror or plan to buy one and learn and practice with it, that was a great aid to see how brainwaves can be analyzed, or maybe address me some technical even questions of what and how, if you're not quite sure, if you're just beginning your journey with the Mind Mirror. So it worked in many ways.
Is there any chance that you're going to continue with the meditation club on your own?
I don't know, we'll see, because it's a fascinating project. I liked the research part of it, and I absolutely enjoyed the healing part of it, because any group meditation has a beautiful healing effect. And when all our energies come together, it's much more powerful than you sitting in your usual corner, meditation corner, doing what you are doing, because it's our energies multiply in geometrical progression, and it's a beautiful space where we can feel this communion that you're not lonely, you're not isolated. So once again, we are breaking these physical limitations and regaining the freedom that we have within, always regaining our power and collective power. So I will see. I can't say I'm completely done with everything. It's just at this moment in time, I feel I need a little pause, maybe revisit, revise, where next, and what and how next. But it was and still is absolutely amazing idea and project. I think it's almost a must to have meditation club with the Mind Mirror, because we always will have something to share. There are more practitioners, there are more people writing meditations. It opens the doors to maybe possible collaborations with other meditation creators to show how their meditations are working. And so it just opens the doors to a broader world. Even though not everyone is, into technology, let's face it. But there are lots of us who are just interested in inner work and spirituality, and yes, meditation addicts like me. So all of this audience can also be on board and enjoy what we have to offer. In terms of meditations and our kind of theory put into practice through the meditation collections that we share.
Well, if you decide that you don't want to do it on your own website, you are welcome to come and do it on the mindmirror.com or mindmirrorportal.com. There's the scope of what you created there. As you say, it is a portal, but it's also a gathering place for people. Whether they have a mind mirror or just want to practice meditation with other people and have a place to discuss their experiences with others. It was quite a brilliant idea, as were so many other of your ideas, Oksana. And so I hope it will continue. It's definitely going to be a new era without you being the facilitator and leader of the webinar program. I know you're going to be missed by many people and that this video will be watched by them. And I think they're all going to have one big question. Why are you leaving? What are you going to do now? And when will we see you again? Any of those answers you wish to address, most welcome.
All I can say that, like any other practitioner, I had my own deeper interest. I shared already about consciousness transformation. That's my, I think, life topic, not just final physics topic, that will stay with me forever. And also, as many of you may know, I did a great training and experiment with groups of mediums in Sydney. And I don't know who needed it most, me or them. I'm sure they had their own benefits by learning how to better control and navigate their inner states, because intuitively most of them know what to do. They are either natural mediums or they're being trained to become mediums, but it's very subjective, as you know. As you go into the subtle realm, it kind of is soupy, unclear, you're never sure. You may struggle with doubts or excessive thoughts. And this is no different from the Awakened Mind training that we do, where we share how to get control over it, right? So that's what I shared with them, and they appreciated this, because everybody wants to know how to stop all these doubts and mind chatter and quicker go into the flow state, and then better connect with the spirit, or better channel the healing energy, because mediums, they were not just mediums talking to the spirits of the dead. They were mediums simply interested or having and applying their extrasensory abilities in many forms, be it from, I don't know, ghost chasing to tarot reading to energy healing, any of it, including traditional mediumship that we know. So anyway, they learned something, they validated the experience, because clearly I could show them that they were going into trance, which means they were going into beyond normal, ordinary state. They were not thinking their experiences, they were truly going there. Some of them showed out-of-body patterns, and that's their favorite way to just fly away into other realms and then come back. So I helped them to find their way back, because once again, they didn't know how to recollect themselves. They didn't have any structure or guidance or any map to navigate. So they received that with the mind mirror training. But anyway, through them, I learned that I had some of my own extrasensoric skills that probably have always been there. I just never realized or never acknowledged them. So they helped me to probably pay due attention and acknowledge them more. And
might you go back and do more studies with them?
We'll see. It depends on the demand, because I'm very much like shamans do. If I feel a true request, I respond to it. So if there is a demand for it and genuine interest, I'll respond to it. So
you know that Max Cade, I don't think many people know this. I don't know whether you do or not, but Max Cade was actually developing training programs for healers. All of those materials, unfortunately, were lost. And he was also developing programs for mediums. So that's quite a contribution you made, especially when you wrote that up in the mind and as a research paper, which can still be found under the research page of the IM website under Mind Mirror Studies. Absolutely fabulous information, very impressive. You spent an enormous amount of time with the screenshots of their brainwaves and everything that you included in that. Yeah, so research, I hope it calls to you because everybody wants it, everybody needs it. Yeah.
Due attention and acknowledge them more. And
might you go back and do more studies with them?
We'll see. It depends on the demand, because I'm very much like shamans do. If I feel a true request, I respond to it. So if there is a demand for it and genuine interest, I'll respond to it. So
you know that Max Cade, I don't think many people know this. I don't know whether you do or not, but Max Cade was actually developing training programs for healers. All of those materials, unfortunately, were lost. And he was also developing programs for mediums. So that's quite a contribution you made, especially when you wrote that up in the mind and as a research paper, which can still be found under the research page of the IM website under Mind Mirror Studies. Absolutely fabulous information, very impressive. You spent an enormous amount of time with the screenshots of their brainwaves and everything that you included in that. Yeah, so research, I hope it calls to you because everybody wants it, everybody needs it. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So
So
anyway, yeah.
what else might you be doing? What
So
else calls you?
my journey took me to explore more of my own extrasensoric perception. And in the last few years, I also did a few more trainings to kind of better organize and better understand how extrasensoric perception works. And training in systemic family constellations and in karmic constellations, it gave me, how to say, another level of understanding of the dynamics, energy dynamics behind our life, behind processes, behind behavior, behind what and why we face in everyday life. So you can clearly say we are coded. We are almost like programs, being inherited from our ancestors, being inherited and brought with us from previous incarnation. And even though with the mind mirror, I always, for some reason, believe that it's my individual subconscious, I suddenly learned that there are more layers and levels to it. It's not just my individual. I may think it's mine, and probably what I know about mine would be not more than 5% of my life story that I know, and that's properly registered and recorded in my conscious memory. But there would be so many more things and programs sitting underneath that and still running my life, by default setting, something that I inherited from ancestors, something that I brought with me from past lives. And this last couple of years, I was learning, and of course, I was experiencing it firsthand, how this can influence me. And that's partially, I covered that in my trauma webinar, and also in some other webinars where I shared how these dynamics work. And we should also acknowledge that at least these levels exist. There are so many more levels of consciousness. And my last programs, I think last webinars, they would tell you about these levels of consciousness that should be acknowledged, kept in mind, and they can be worked with as well. So I'm going to explore more of this. And of course, the ultimate goal for me would be always how far human consciousness can go, how much I can sense the truth, how much I can read, perceive myself with what's going on, even without devices. It's just me and my raw perception, which is so attuned, so acute, that would allow me to sense what's going on for me. And I should admit my intuition is okay. I'm training how I can apply it for the benefits of others at the moment. And the second would be, how can I influence others through my own self? So reading is one hand, and the other hand would be basically, how can I be that tool or device that through my own state can radiate and influence others? And as probably many of my mirror followers know, or the main question they always ask, how do you influence? What's happening in a group? How within the group people influence. And what we learn, that those who are in a better, more balanced or higher states, those who are in more advanced states, first, they always feel better. They are simply more joyful and happier people. They're definitely more efficient. They're definitely more intuitive. And then if they say 4 people in a small group meditating, the ones most advanced would drag the rest. And that's how Healer and Healy interactions work. So, of course, I'll try to master that. So how I can directly radiate or transmit the state, I understand that's ultimate mastery level, but I think the human consciousness is heading in that direction, where we become all very intuitive, almost telepathic, nothing to hide. We can resonate with the truth, clearly decipher what's wrong, what's right through the resonance, through all our 5 senses and 6 senses, and then radiate the states to each other.
So it sounds like you are going to embark on a research project to see how far you can go in consciousness and perhaps extend that to others through trainings, some sort of communication platform, perhaps even a book?
Yes, Judith, I started writing a book a few years ago, so I really need to withdraw myself from other activities so I can sit down and properly put all materials together, because some are written, some are just audio recordings. And this book is actually about what I call energy reading. Though I think this is something directly related to simply being intuitive, simply to sensing what's going on, what's this energy dynamics behind things, not necessarily like clear audience or these advanced skills where you can read the names, but you can see and recognize the patterns. You can see and recognize the programs, ancestral, karmic, your own, that drive your life, your behavior. So this book will be about developing your own extrasensoric perception, what and how,
Beautiful.
and different rules that apply and can be, how to say, can be observed even if you are attuned enough in everyday life, where you can literally become your own psychic. You can become your own psychotherapist, because your intuition will tell you the best, most accurate information about where you stand and what's going on. So that's the direction I'm taking. So I was thinking of a name. The book is called ABC of the Energy Reading. And the work that I want to do, I had an idea to call it Energy Reading Lab, like laboratory, because that would be a place to learn, to experiment, to collect insights, to find proof that it's working or not working. And once again, do what I like to do, share my own experiences, share my own intuitive kitchen, my own consciousness transformation journey, and see if anybody else could benefit by following me or resonating with me and joining me in this
Well,
journey.
I have to say, I think the way I know when I have reached something that was destined is that a number of paths converge. And I'm just glad that our webinars, I am, everything you did, the mailing list, everything you did has been evolutionary for you and is part of those paths that are now converging for you in this precious time that you're going to have for this self-exploration, in addition to being a wife and the mother of, how old is Marka now? 6?
Oh no, he will turn 8 this year. He's getting busy and
Oh,
growing ultra fast. I'm joking, 8 more years and he'll say, bye bye, mama, I don't need you. I'm taking
exactly.
off.
Exactly. Got to spend the time with him while you can. But I know that you're going to discover and share wonderful things with whatever you're working on, as you have all this time for I Am. And I just, on behalf of all the people who are watching this and loving you and everything you've done, I want to say thank you, Oxana Bondarchuk. Did I say your name right?
Yes.
Bondarchuk? Bondarchuk. Say it the Russian way.
Bondarchuk.
Somewhere close. Anyway, thank you, Oksana, teacher, writer, creator, researcher, practitioner, generous soul who gave us so much. And no doubt we will reconnect on some platform to be able to learn from and enjoy being with you again. Thank you, Oksana, for this time here and the time to come.
Thank you, Judith. It's what my pleasure. And I should say, your role in my life is, I don't know, it cannot be measured in any words. You are like my professional parent or spiritual parent, inspirational parent in many, many ways. Yes, I see you like, my mother or whoever is sitting higher in terms of hierarchy and can give me these blessings and confidence in myself, in where I can go, what I can possibly do. So I would never be here and who I am without you, because your contribution was amazing, Judith. And as I said, it's a karmic contract that we made. It was there was no agreement like proper employer agreement or whatever. It was deeper and much more solid.
A shared journey, and no doubt it will continue in some form at some time, because such karmic contracts are never broken. They might change form, but they do continue.
Thank you, Judith.
Thank you, Oxana. We love you.
I love you all too.